Top 15 Most Valuable Gemstones and How to Find Them. Welcome back to Tops, a special journey where we explore the untold stories behind the world's most extraordinary gemstones. In this countdown, beauty is not the only measure of success. Each stone carries with it a hidden historical, cultural, and economic value, sometimes worth more than a kingdom. Of the 15 gemstones we're about to explore, some were worn in battle, others are protected in royal vaults, and a few are so rare they exist only in memory. But one, ranked number 1, has become legendary. Its sole source on Earth has disappeared, and with each passing year, its value increases beyond imagination. If you miss it, you risk misunderstanding the future of gemstone investing and perhaps missing out on the treasure of a lifetime. Before we get started, if this is your first time joining Tops, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes of Gem Kingdom. Each chapter reveals a story more surprising than the last, and your support helps us bring these journeys to the masses. Stay with us, because in the next 10 minutes, if you leave too soon, you may never know why it overshadows every other gem on Earth. Ranked 15th, coral, the ocean's blood turned to stone. When Roman generals returned from war, they carried branches of the sea hardened into red stone. For centuries, coral was more prized than pearls, a living treasure that grew beneath the waves. Precious red coral has become rare for two primary reasons: centuries of overharvesting and the implementation of modern conservation laws. Unlike minerals, coral grows slowly, barely a millimeter a year. Fine branches, dense and flawless, are no longer readily available. Antique necklaces from the 18th century often fetch tens of thousands of dollars at Christie's or Sotheby's, while raw, certified origin coral can sell for several $1,000s per kilogram. Value here is driven not just by beauty, but by absence. What once seemed abundant is now vanishing. Historically, the richest deposits lay in the Mediterranean, Sardinia, Sicily, and the coast of Tunisia, where divers risk their lives cutting branches from rocky seabeds. In Japan, especially in Okinawa and Kochi, red coral was once harvested for export across Asia. Today, strict bans protect most reefs. Legal, gem-quality coral can be found primarily through certified vintage markets, old family heirlooms, and limited licensed harvests in Japan and Italy. For a collector, the hunt is less in the ocean than in archives and auction houses. Ancient Greeks believed coral came from Medusa's blood, dripping into the sea when Perseus carried her severed head. In Hindu astrology, it belongs to the 9 sacred Navaratna gems, representing Mars and symbolizing courage and strength. In 17th century Europe, coral rosaries and amulets were often gifted to infants, believed to ward off evil spirits. Its role as a spiritual shield added layers of value far beyond its physical form. Unlike transparent gems, coral's power is in its opaque glow: deep crimson, oxblood red, or salmon pink. Polished into beads or carved figures, antique parures, sets of matching necklaces, earrings, and brooches, once adorned European royalty. Today, collectors prize even small undyed beads if their origin can be verified. From ocean reefs to royal treasures, coral lived as both a life and a gem. If this surprised you, share your thoughts in the comments below. Red coral is no longer gathered freely from the sea. Instead, its story lives in carved rosaries, antique necklaces, and museum collections. A gemstone of the ocean, now preserved in humanity's archives. But if coral was once mistaken for blood, the following gem was mistaken for fire itself. Celebrated, renamed, and claimed by emperors. Ranked 14th, Topaz, from ordinary stone to imperial treasure. In 18th century Russia, one gem was declared property of the Tsar alone. Imperial topaz, fiery orange-pink, was guarded as fiercely as gold, turning an ordinary stone into royal treasure. Most topaz you see in jewelry stores is treated blue or pale yellow, worth only a few dollars per carat, but genuine imperial topaz, glowing in deep orange-pink to fiery red, is rarer than diamond. Large natural stones over 10 carats can fetch $5,000 to $10,000 per carat at auction, and imperial specimens of museum quality have reached 6-figure sums. Value here comes from scarcity. Only a handful of mines produce the right chemistry to ignite this sunset hue. Imperial Topaz is almost exclusively mined in Ouro Preto, Minas Gerais, Brazil. Crystals are prismatic, sometimes the length of a hand, but gem quality sections are slim. A few pink varieties also appear in the Ural Mountains of Russia, echoing the stone's royal past. Modern collectors searching for Imperial Topaz will not find it in ordinary jewelry shops. The hunt lies in Brazilian mine contracts, specialized dealers, and elite auction houses. For casual seekers, smaller topaz crystals can still be found in river gravels across Pakistan or Nigeria. But without the imperial glow, their value remains modest. The very name topaz traces back to Topazios Island in the Red Sea, though that stone was likely peridot. In ancient Egypt, it was believed to carry the warmth of Ra, the sun god. By the Middle Ages, it was thought to dispel enchantments, but its most dramatic turn came in the 18th century Russia. The pink-orange variety was declared the exclusive property of the imperial family. This decree gave rise to the name Imperial Topaz, a title that still commands prestige and price centuries later. Imperial Topaz shines in tones of golden amber, sherry orange, or salmon pink, with flashes of red. Crystals grow as long, striated columns, often cleaved with knife-like precision. When cut, they reveal brilliance akin to sapphire, but with a warmer hue. Antique Russian jewelry pieces featuring Imperial Topaz are among the most coveted, while Brazilian artisans continue to set the finest stones into bold modern designs. An ordinary stone turned into imperial fire, guarded by the czars themselves. Would you have recognized its actual value? Please tell us what you think. For centuries, topaz was seen as common, mistaken, mislabeled, and even dismissed. Yet in its rarest shades, it becomes a gem of emperors, worth far more than most diamonds. Ordinary turned extraordinary. That is the paradox of topaz. And if topaz held the fire of the sun, the next stone carried the name of warriors and rivers, a gem that still whispers of lost civilizations. Ranked 13th, Amazonite, the warrior's stone, that never came from the Amazon. Named after the legendary Amazon warriors, yet curiously absent from the river that bears its name, Amazonite has long puzzled collectors. Its green-blue glow once symbolized strength and mystery, and today fine specimens rival jade and turquoise in price. How did a misunderstood stone of myth become a prized collector's gem, and where can it still be found? Common feldspar minerals are abundant, but true gem-quality Amazonite with vivid turquoise green color and minimal fracturing is rare. High-grade cabochons or beads can fetch hundreds of dollars each, and decorative carvings of museum quality reach into the thousands. The value lies not in mass availability, but in exceptional crystals with strong color zoning and luster. For collectors, verified origin, from Russia's Ilmen Mountains or Colorado's Pikes Peak, significantly boosts price. Despite its name, Amazonite has never been mined from the Amazon River. Instead, notable deposits occur in Russia's Urals, Madagascar, and especially in the United States, where Colorado's Pikes Peak region yields striking crystals often paired with smoky quartz. Hobbyist collectors sometimes find smaller pieces in pegmatite outcrops across Virginia and Pennsylvania. On today's market, Amazonite is seen mainly through mineral fairs, dealer networks, and specialized online auctions. Finding a flawless stone in the field is rare. The actual hunt is in recognizing locality and verifying authenticity. Legends linked Amazonite to the Amazons, women warriors said to wear it as talismans of strength. At Mesopotamian sites, Amazonite beads have been discovered in ancient burials, indicating long-distance trade thousands of years ago. In Egypt, it was carved into amulets, including pieces inscribed in the Book of the Dead. Its enigmatic hues, somewhere between sky and river, gave it symbolic power as a stone of balance and clarity. Amazonite's signature color is a blend of bluish-green to turquoise, often with white streaks. It forms in blocky feldspar crystals, sometimes large enough to cut multiple cabochons. Jewelers usually set it in silver or pair it with turquoise, though high-quality stones can stand alone in rings and pendants. Its opaque but glowing finish makes it more akin to jade than transparent gems. Mystery flows through Amazonite, from Mesopotamian burials to modern collectors. If you find its story fascinating, leave a comment and join the discussion. One polished Amazonite cabochon, glowing like a piece of frozen river, holds centuries of myth within its surface. A simple object, yet a relic of stories that still flow through cultures. And if Amazonite carried the name of warriors, the next gemstone carried the weight of sorrow itself. Born from ancient forests, worn in times of mourning, ranked 12th, jet, the black gem of mourning and memory. When Queen Victoria entered mourning, fashion across Europe turned black. From that grief rose jet, a fossilized wood transformed into jewelry of sorrow and devotion. Deep analysis. Jet is not a mineral, but a form of lignite, fossilized from trees that lived 180 million years ago. Its deep, velvety black sheen made it the perfect emblem of solemnity. In the 19th century, Queen Victoria wore jet exclusively after Prince Albert's death, setting a global trend for mourning jewelry. Demand soared so high that mines around Whitby, England, could not keep up. Antique jet jewelry remains valuable today. Finely carved brooches, rosaries, and cameos can sell for thousands of dollars at auction. Its value is rooted in cultural memory as much as it is in rarity. The most famous source is Whitby, on the Yorkshire coast of England, where Jurassic wood fossilized into jet along sea cliffs. Small-scale mining still exists, but most high-quality pieces come from antique markets. Spain's Asturias region and some deposits in Turkey also yield jet, but the finest specimens with uniform black luster are Whitby's. For collectors, the hunt now lies in vintage stores, estate sales, and auction catalogs. Modern jet is rarely mined in large quantities, making authentic Victorian-era jewelry the most prized way to find it today. Long before Victorian fashion, jet was used as far back as the Bronze Age. Archaeological digs in England and Scotland revealed jet beads buried with the dead, marking them as a stone of passage and protection. In medieval Europe, rosaries made of jet were thought to absorb negative energy. Its most significant cultural moment, however, was in the 19th century when jet became synonymous with mourning. Laws and etiquette manuals dictated that widows wear black jet jewelry for years, turning grief into a gemstone economy. Unlike transparent gems, jet's appeal is in its absolute blackness, polished to a mirror-like shine. It is lightweight, allowing artisans to carve intricate cameos, crucifixes, and lockets with ease. Jet brooches often feature Gothic or floral motifs, combining elegance with somber symbolism. Today, authentic Victorian jet jewelry commands high collector prices, while cheap imitations made of glass or plastic flood the market, making provenance essential. Jet transformed grief into jewels, shaping Victorian fashion itself. Would you wear a stone of mourning? Share your view below. From the Victorian brooch pinned on a widow's dress, to the medieval rosary beads clutched in prayer, to the Bronze Age necklace buried with the dead, jet has always been tied to loss, a fossil of ancient forests, but forever a jewel of mourning. And if jet was the stone of sorrow, the next gemstone carried a different burden, mistaken identity, a flame of red that fooled kings and crowned empires. Ranked 11th, Spinel, the imposter ruby that fooled kings. The British Crown holds a 170-carat ruby, except it isn't ruby at all. Spinel's greatest trick was deceiving kings for centuries, only to emerge today as a million-dollar gem. Spinel long lived in ruby's shadow, but its true brilliance emerged once gemology advanced in the 19th century. Today, fine red Spinel rivals ruby at auction, top stones surpass $30,000 per carat, and vivid pinks and cobalt blues are equally coveted. Rarity drives value. Unlike ruby, Spinel has no consistent treatment methods, so natural saturation is king. Collectors prize it for its honesty and color, ironically after centuries of mistaken identity. The most legendary sources lie in Burma's Mogok Valley, where pigeon's blood, rubies, and spinels grow side by side. Tajikistan's Pamir Mountains also yield fiery red crystals, while Tanzania's Mahenja district has produced neon pink spinels that stunned the gem world in the 2000s. Today, finding Spinel means tracing old trade routes in Burma and Afghanistan, or securing stones through high-end dealers. For field collectors, small crystals still surface in gravel deposits, but the finest gems remain a guarded resource of traditional mining communities. The 170-carat Black Prince's ruby, centerpiece of Britain's imperial state crown, is actually a red Spinel. The Timur ruby, weighing 361 carats and inscribed with the names of Mughal emperors, is another Spinel that has been misnamed for centuries. This confusion reveals how Spinel's destiny was bound to power, prized not on its own terms, but as a stand-in for something else. Only in recent decades has it been recognized as an independent gem of prestige. Spinel crystallizes in the cubic system, often forming octahedral shapes, sharp, symmetrical, and striking. Its range of hues stretches beyond ruby red, cobalt blue, lilac, orange, and even rare colorless specimens. In jewelry, it is durable and brilliant, making it ideal for rings and crowns. Modern designers now showcase Spinel's full palette, liberating it from the shadow of ruby. For centuries, Spinel was mistaken for a crown under the wrong name. Does its history of mistaken glory make it less or more? Let us know in the comments. From the Black Prince's ruby to the Timur stone, Spinel's most fabulous jewels are not in mines, but in the archives of the empire. Once a shadow, now a name of its own, Spinel has finally claimed its rightful place. But if Spinel's tale was one of mistaken glory, the next gemstone was revered for its very ability to seal truth, engraved, carved, and pressed into history itself. Ranked 10th, Chalcedony, the stone that carried empire's seals. Empires were not held together by armies alone. For thousands of years, the authority of rulers traveled on tiny stones, engraved with names, gods, and symbols, pressed into wax and clay. Many of these seals were not made of ruby or sapphire, but of a more modest yet enduring gem, Chalcedony, the stone that carried messages across civilizations. While common chalcedony in pale blue or gray is inexpensive, engraved intaglios, cameos, and historical artifacts carved in Chalcedony are treasures of immense value. Roman seal rings, Greek amulets, and Ottoman prayer beads command prices in the tens of thousands at auction. Modern collectors seek both artistic carvings and rare varieties, such as Chrysoprase green or blue chalcedony from Turkey, driving a market where cultural value and rarity outweigh carat weight. Chalcedony is a microcrystalline quartz found in volcanic and sedimentary rocks. Deposits stretch from Turkey and Namibia to Brazil and the American West. Ancient sources in Anatolia, modern Turkey, produced much of the stone used in Roman intaglios. Today, the most valuable pieces are rarely mined, but instead discovered in museum collections, antique markets, and archaeological digs. For gem buyers, the hunt lies in specialized dealers offering certified historical pieces or in sourcing modern chrysoprase from Australia's Marlborough deposits. In Mesopotamia, chalcedony seals were rolled across clay tablets to certify contracts. Greek artisans carved gods and heroes into chalcedony, embedding myth in miniature. Romans wore seal rings, personal signatures pressed into wax, made not of diamond but of chalcedony's fine grain, ideal for detail. In Islamic culture, chalcedony engraved with Quranic verses was worn as an amulet of protection. Its reputation was less about brilliance, more about permanence. Chalcedony carried words across generations. Chalcedony occurs in soft hues, including sky blue, misty gray, and apple green. Its waxy luster and microcrystalline texture allow delicate carving without fracture. Ancient cameos display portraits with lifelike detail, while Ottoman beads glow translucent in the light. In jewelry, chalcedony is often polished into smooth cabochons, giving it a calm, understated elegance. Chalcedony once carried the seals of empires and the words of kings. If you'd value a stone for its history over its sparkle, comment your thoughts. From Mesopotamian tablets to Roman seal rings and Ottoman beads, chalcedony's most significant value lies in the archives it preserves. Not a gem of brilliance, but a gem of memory, an enduring witness to human communication. And if chalcedony preserved words in stone, the next gemstone preserves something more elusive. The illusion of jade, A stone of serpents and secrets. Ranked ninth. Serpentine, the fake jade that became sacred. Not all valuable gems sparkle, some whisper instead. For centuries, serpentine, green, waxy, deceptively jade-like, was carved into amulets, altars, and talismans. It guarded tombs, symbolized rebirth, and even today, delicate carvings command high prices. How did a stone once dismissed as fake jade become a valued relic? And where can it still be found? Serpentine's value does not lie in its carat price, but in its cultural and ritual significance. Ancient Chinese artisans carved serpentine into ritual vessels and burial objects, believing it to hold protective powers. In Mesoamerica, it was shaped into masks and figurines associated with fertility and renewal. Today, antique serpentine carvings and temple relics sell for tens of thousands of dollars at auction, especially pieces with proven dynastic or cultural origin. The market is niche, but authenticity is everything. Confusing serpentine with jade or marble can dramatically lower its value. Serpentine occurs worldwide, formed through the alteration of ultramafic rocks. Significant deposits are found across Italy, in the Alps and Apennines, China, Afghanistan, and New Zealand. In modern trade, serpentine carvings are still produced in Asia, but the most valuable pieces are not newly carved. They are antique, verified artifacts. Collectors find serpentine not by mining, but through provenance, such as archaeological context, temple sales, or certified antique dealers. The hunt is more about history than geology. The name serpentine comes from its snake-like patterns and green hue. In Chinese culture, it was long carved into ritual objects, sometimes serving as a substitute for jade when genuine jadeite or nephrite was unavailable. This created both reverence and controversy. Was it sacred or a substitute? In medieval Europe, serpentine was ground into powders thought to ward off poison. In indigenous North American traditions, it was polished into amulets symbolizing earth and renewal. Its identity, authentic or imitation, was always in question, yet always in use. Serpentine ranges from apple green to dark olive, often with mottled serpentine veining. It is soft, easily carved, and thus favored for sculptures, seals, and beads. While not typically faceted for fine jewelry, serpentine pendants, cabochons, and carved bracelets are sold today as new jade, which can be misleading to buyers. The most valuable pieces remain those tied to dynasties, rituals, or archaeological sites. Serpentine blurred the line between imitation and sacred relic. Would you call it fake jade or a stone worthy of reverence? Share below. Dismissed as imitation jade, yet revered as a sacred vessel, serpentine has lived a double life. It is both counterfeit and authentic, cheap and priceless, depending on the beholder's perspective. And if serpentine lived in the shadow of jade, the following gem glowed with a light so bright it was believed to come from the sun itself. Ranked 8th, Peridot, the gem of the sun that fell from the sky. In Hawaii, tiny green crystals are called the tears of a volcano goddess. On Egyptian thrones, they were mistaken for emeralds. Peridot burns with a color that came from both Earth's fire and the stars. Peridot is one of the few gems that occurs in only one color, green, but the intensity of that green determines its worth. Fine stones with vivid lime to olive hues and high transparency can fetch $500 to $800 per carat. Exceptional large specimens, particularly those exceeding 10 carats, command significantly higher prices. Today, auction records highlight Peridot jewelry from Egypt and Burma as rare collector's pieces. The market rewards quality over quantity. While Peridot is geologically common, top-grade stones are scarce. Historically, Zabergad Island in the Red Sea, also known as St. John's Island, Egypt, was once the world's most important source, supplying Cleopatra's famed emeralds, which were actually Peridot. Modern mining occurs in Myanmar, Mogok region, Pakistan, Khoistan Mountains, and Arizona, United States. For those seeking Peridot today, the U.S., the Four Corners region continues to produce gem-quality stones, often found in basalt flows. Rarer still, Peridot crystals occasionally appear in meteorites known as pallasites, though these extraterrestrial gems are virtually priceless. The ancient Egyptians mined Peridot as early as 1500 BCE, referring to it as the gem of the sun. It was believed to ward off evil spirits, especially when set in gold. Crusaders brought Peridot back to Europe, where it was put into medieval church treasures. In Hawaii, Peridot is associated with Pele, the goddess of volcanoes. Tiny green crystals are said to be her tears scattered across the volcanic sands. Each culture tied Peridot to light, protection, and celestial power. Peridot's pure green hue is derived from iron in its crystal structure, ranging from chartreuse to olive. It forms as transparent prismatic crystals, sometimes embedded in basaltic rock. Jewelers favor cushion and oval cuts that showcase their brilliance, while large cabochons are often featured in high-end rings and pendants. Peridot jewelry has surged in popularity due to its natural glow, an earthly reminder of its cosmic origins. Peridot burns with fire from Earth and silence from space. If its dual origin intrigues you, drop your thoughts in the comments. A single Peridot crystal, whether lifted from volcanic rock or cut from a meteorite, captures the fire of Earth and the silence of space. One object, two origins, united in light. And if Peridot was born from both earth and sky, the following gem was carried across the world by human hands, traded in caravans and worn in battles. Ranked 7th. Garnet, the warrior's gem that traveled the Silk Road. From Roman signet rings to Crusader armor, garnet has lit the path of warriors and kings. A gem of fire carried across Silk Road caravans and buried in ancient tombs. Garnet is not a single stone but a family of minerals with colors ranging from blood-red almandine to vivid green savorite. Common varieties are affordable, but rare garnets, such as demantoid from Russia, with its diamond-like fire, reach over $10,000 per carat. Savorite from Kenya and Tanzania has seen a sharp rise in price as supplies dwindle. Antique garnet jewelry, mainly 19th century Bohemian pieces, also commands strong demand in European markets. Garnet's value lies in its dual nature, abundant in some forms, yet sporadic and expensive in others. Garnets form in metamorphic rocks worldwide, but the most valuable varieties come from specific regions. Demantoid from Russia's Ural Mountains, savorite from Kenya's Tsavo National Park region, and spessartite from Namibia and Nigeria. Almandine garnet can still be found in riverbeds across India and Sri Lanka. Today, gem hunters look to African mines for investment-grade garnets, while collectors scour antique fairs for historic Bohemian jewelry. In ancient Rome, garnet signet rings were used to seal contracts and letters. During the Crusades, garnets were set into armor, believed to protect warriors from injury. In Anglo-Saxon burials, garnets were inlaid on swords and shields. The gem also traveled the Silk Road, linking India, Persia, and Europe. Across cultures, garnet symbolized blood, fire, and resilience, making it both a talisman and a symbol of power. Garnets crystallize in dodecahedra, often resembling geometric dice. Their palette spans deep red, fiery orange, rare purple, and vivid green. Jewelry houses favor savorite and demantoid in modern high jewelry, while Victorian garnet clusters, composed of dozens of tiny red stones, remain popular in auctions. Unlike ruby, garnet's diversity makes it adaptable, with each color carrying its own market. From battlefield talismans to million-dollar auctions, garnet has burned through history. Would you keep it for protection or investment? Let us know. From modern auction houses showcasing rare green savorites to Victorian parures of clustered red gems, to Crusader armor and Roman signet rings, garnet has burned through history, always tied to fire and blood. And if garnet glowed in battlefields and trade caravans, the next gemstone shone with a gentler light, an apple green stone of kings and betrayals. Ranked 6th, Chrysoprase, the apple green gem that betrayed kings. Frederick the Great locked mines under his command, reserving one green stone as his personal treasure. Chrysoprase, glowing like captured spring, became the gem of power and betrayal. Deep analysis among the Chalcedony family, Chrysoprase is the most prized, characterized by its vivid apple green color, which is caused by nickel inclusions. Unlike common quartz, fine chrysoprase with pure, even color and translucence is rare. Historically, it was valued as highly as emerald. Today, antique chrysoprase jewelry, especially from the Art Deco period, can fetch thousands of dollars at auction, while museum-quality cabochons from old European collections are highly sought after. Its rarity and royal associations make it far more valuable than its modest family name suggests. The finest chrysoprase historically came from Silesia, in what is now Poland and the Czech Republic, territories tied to Frederick the Great of Prussia. Australia later became the modern source, particularly in Marlborough, Queensland, producing vibrant green deposits. Today, collectors find chrysoprase less in the field than through antique jewelry auctions, though certified Australian material remains on the market. The hunt, as with many mid-tier rare gems, is about quality. Pale or mottled stones drop drastically in value. Frederick the Great of Prussia, an 18th century monarch and military strategist, was known to have been fond of chrysoprase. He used it to decorate palaces, churches, and personal regalia. Legends say he punished rivals by denying them access to his chrysoprase mines, guarding the gem as a symbol of his power and authority. In Renaissance Europe, chrysoprase was believed to carry the power of truth, said to grow pale in the presence of betrayal. The gem became both ornament and omen, tied to power, loyalty, and treachery. Chrysoprase glows in shades of apple to deep jade green, translucent when cut thin. Carved into cameos, cabochons, and beads, it became especially popular during the Art Deco movement, paired with onyx and diamonds. Its soft glow contrasted with the brilliance of rubies and sapphires, offering a subtler form of luxury. Today, its clean cabochons remain the hallmark of fine chrysoprase jewelry. Locked away by kings, chrysoprase glowed as a gem of power and betrayal. If the story surprised you, leave a comment to continue the debate. The mines Frederick once guarded are silent. Chrysoprase no longer flows from Silesian hills, and the Gem of Kings is now a relic of auction catalogs and museum displays. What remains is absence, the memory of a stone once powerful enough to shape an empire. And if chrysoprase faded with vanished mines, the next gemstone burns with urgency. Born of a single source on Earth and already running out. Ranked 5th, Tanzanite, the one-source gem racing against time. In 1967, lightning struck the foothills of Kilimanjaro, igniting stones that shimmered violet blue. Tanzanite was born in that blaze, a gem so young and so rare it exists nowhere else on Earth. Unlike ruby, emerald, or sapphire, Tanzanite has no other known deposits worldwide. Its entire supply comes from a narrow strip of land, just a few kilometers long, in Tanzania's Merelani Hills. Top-grade stones with deep blue-violet hues can sell for $1,000 to $2,000 per carat, while exceptional pieces exceeding 10 carats can reach far higher prices. The looming threat of depletion drives both price and demand. Tanzanite is valuable not only for its beauty, but for its ticking clock. First discovered in the 1960s and popularized by Tiffany & Company, Tanzanite quickly became a global sensation. Today, mining is restricted to licensed operations near Arusha, Tanzania. Stones are often recovered from deep shafts dug into the metamorphic schists of Merelani. Outside Tanzania, Tanzanite cannot be mined, meaning the only way to find it is through Tanzanian dealers or international auctions. Collectors are increasingly turning to certified stones as investments, anticipating a sharp rise in value once the mines close. Local Maasai tribes considered blue-violet stones sacred, associating them with new beginnings and prosperity. When Tiffany introduced Tanzanite to the world, it branded the gem as a stone of 1,000 blues, quickly securing its place in high jewelry. Unlike ancient gems, Tanzanite's history is relatively young but intense. Its scarcity and cultural significance have risen within decades, not centuries. Its story is a sprint, not a marathon. Tanzanite exhibits pleochroism, displaying colors ranging from blue to violet and even burgundy, depending on the angle of light. Crystals often form elongated prisms, cut into ovals or trillions to maximize color shift. Fine Tanzanite jewelry pairs it with diamonds, often in high-end rings or pendants. Large, vivid stones are increasingly rare, and buyers now see them as heirlooms for future generations. Tanzanite may vanish within our lifetime, its mine's already dwindling. Would you secure one before it's gone? Share your answer below. When the last shaft in Miralani Hills closes, there will be no more Tanzanite. Its story will not end with an archive, but with silence, an absence no other gem can fill. And if Tanzanite is a race against time, the following gem embodies a paradox of permanence, able to change its very color, a stone of shifting empires. Ranked fourth, Alexandrite, the gem that changes its colors and empires. Hold it to the daylight, it shines green. Move beneath a candle, it burns red. Alexandrite is a gem of duality, its shifting colors once the emblem of Imperial Russia. Fine Alexandrite is rarer than almost any other colored stone. Its value depends on the strength of its color change. Stones that shift vividly from green to red are worth more than diamonds. High-quality specimens can sell for over $50,000 per carat at auction, with record-setting pieces fetching hundreds of thousands of dollars. Small Alexandrites are already rare. Fine stones weighing more than 5 carats are almost legendary. Its worth lies not just in beauty, but in transformation, the ability to be two gems in one. Alexandrite was first discovered in the Ural Mountains of Russia in the 1830s, its colors echoing the colors of the imperial flag, green and red. Today, original Russian sources are largely depleted. Modern mining occurs in Brazil, Sri Lanka, and East Africa, Tanzania, Zimbabwe. But stones of true Russian quality remain nearly impossible to find. Collectors search auction catalogs, estate jewelry, and certified Brazilian or African mines for investment-grade stones. To find real Alexandrite today is to chase rarity itself. The gem was named after Alexander II, heir to the Russian throne, and quickly became a symbol of the Russian Empire. Its dual colors were seen as embodying both military strength and imperial wealth. In Victorian England, Alexandrite was thought to bring good luck in love and fortune. Mystics later referred to it as the stone of duality, symbolizing both joy and sorrow, as well as power and vulnerability. Alexandrite's cultural weight has always matched its elusive beauty. In daylight, Alexandrite shows bluish-green to emerald hues. Under incandescent light, it shifts to raspberry red or purple. This pleochroism makes it one of the most dramatic gemstones in existence. Cut in ovals or cushion shapes, it reveals its dual colors with every turn. High jewelry houses prize Alexandrite for bespoke rings and pendants, with larger stones reserved for museums or elite collectors. Two colors, two identities. Alexandrite lives as both emerald and ruby. Would you treasure it for rarity or for wonder? Comment on your view. Green by day, red by night. Imperial glory in one light, uncertainty in another. Alexandrite is both, always, never just one thing. And if Alexandrite embodied the paradox of duality, the next gemstone stood for permanence, a blue so deep and velvety that even when its mines were gone, its legend only grew. Ranked third, Kashmir Sapphire, the lost paradise of blue. In 1881, a landslide high in the Himalayas uncovered crystals of a velvet blue hue. Within decades, the mines were gone, but the Kashmir Sapphire remains the world's most coveted blue gemstone. Kashmir sapphires are prized for their velvety cornflower blue color, caused by microscopic inclusions that scatter light evenly across the stone. This unique texture gives them a soft glow unmatched by sapphires from any other source. Because the mines were exhausted within decades of discovery, genuine Kashmir stones are scarce. At Sotheby's and Christie's, fine specimens regularly achieve prices of $200,000 per carat, with exceptional jewels reaching multi-million-dollar records. Their value comes not only from beauty, but from scarcity. Genuine Kashmir sapphires can no longer be mined. The source was a remote valley in the Zanskar range of the Himalayas, discovered in the late 19th century. Mining lasted only from the 1880s to the 1920s before deposits ran dry. Today, no new Kashmir sapphires are being produced. Collectors and dealers find them only through auctions, state jewelry, or rare private sales. Certification is essential, as stones from Sri Lanka or Burma are often misrepresented. Only laboratory reports confirming Kashmir origin secure their value. Kashmir sapphires entered the gem world suddenly, when landslides exposed deposits in 1881. The Maharaja of Kashmir quickly placed the mines under state control, ensuring that the finest crystals were sent directly into the royal treasuries. European merchants soon brought them to London and Paris, where they became the pinnacle of aristocratic jewelry. Their short-lived production and imperial associations transformed them into a symbol of a lost paradise, beauty glimpsed, then fleeting. The hallmark of Kashmir sapphire is its velvety cornflower blue, neither too dark nor too pale. Stones are often cut into ovals or cushions to maximize the depth of color. In jewelry, they appear in high-profile rings and brooches, many of which are set in platinum and diamonds during the Edwardian era. Today, such pieces dominate headlines when they reappear at auction. Kashmir's mines are gone, yet its velvet blue still defines perfection. Would you chase a gem that can no longer be mined? Tell us in the comments. The mines of Kashmir are gone, buried beneath landslides and silence. Yet the stones remain, preserved in royal treasuries, museum displays, and auction archives. A legend born of absence, kept alive in memory. And if Kashmir sapphire embodied a lost paradise, the next gemstone was never lost at all. Guarded jealously for centuries as the imperial jewel of Asia. Ranked second, Imperial Jadeite, the emperor's gem worth more than diamonds. A gem so treasured that emperors reserved it for their thrones, and dynasties treated it as a bridge between heaven and earth. Imperial Jadeite was once the exclusive jewel of Chinese royalty. Today, it fuels record-breaking auctions, with single necklaces fetching tens of millions of dollars. How did a greenstone achieve imperial status, and where can it still be found in a world hungry for it? Not all jade is created equal. The most valuable form, Imperial Jadeite, glows with a translucent emerald green caused by chromium. Unlike common nephrite, Imperial Jadeite is rare and nearly impossible to source in fine quality. At Sotheby's, the Hutton Midivani necklace, composed of 27 beads of top-grade jadeite, sold for $27.4 million. Exceptional bangles, pendants, and cabochons regularly sell for millions. Its value is driven by cultural prestige and limited supply. Few stones inspire such loyalty among collectors. The sole historic source of Imperial Jadeite is Myanmar, Burma, especially around the Hpakan and Myakina regions. Jadeite boulders are extracted from riverbeds and mountainsides, often concealed beneath thick weathered crusts. Dealers gamble by cutting into boulders, sometimes revealing glowing green interiors worth fortunes. For modern buyers, finding Imperial Jadeite is not about mining, but about auctions, estate sales, and trusted Burmese sources. Demand in Hong Kong and mainland China ensures that top specimens are rarely exported from Asia. Jade has been revered in China for over 5,000 years, symbolizing virtue, purity, and immortality. When jadeite from Burma entered China in the 18th century, it eclipsed nephrite, becoming the ultimate imperial gem. Empress Dowager Cixi was notorious for her love of jadeite, hoarding bangles and carvings. Its exclusivity made it both currency and power. To own imperial jadeite was to hold a piece of heaven sanctioned by the throne. Even today, jadeite bangles are gifted as status symbols, wedding heirlooms, and investments. Imperial Jadeite is prized for its glass-like translucency and pure emerald green color. It is carved into bangles, beads, and cabochons, forms that emphasize continuity and eternity. Unlike faceted gems, jadeite's value rests in smooth, glowing surfaces that radiate life from within. The finest stones are polished into single-piece bangles, symbols of unbroken unity and unmatched wealth. Imperial Jadeite surpassed diamonds glowing in bangles passed through dynasties. Would you wear it or guard it as an heirloom? Share below. One jadeite bangle, glowing like captured spring light, represents centuries of exclusivity, devotion, and wealth. Not just a gem, but an object of empire. And if jadeite was the gem emperors lived with, the next gemstone is one the world has lost forever. Its mines closed, its stones rising to prices beyond imagination. In first place, Argyle pink diamond. The $2 million gem lost forever. Imagine a gem so rare that less than 1% of all diamonds carry its color. For decades, a single mine in Western Australia was the world's only reliable source of this mineral. Then in 2020, it closed forever. These are the Argyle pink diamonds, the stones that rose from obscurity to outprice almost every gem on Earth. Pink diamonds are already the rarest of their kind, but Argyle stones were unique. Intense pinks, purples, and reds with no rival in saturation. At auction, they outstripped even fine sapphires and emeralds, prices often exceeding $2 million per carat for the finest fancy vivid specimens. Annual Argyle tender events offered only a handful of stones to the world's elite collectors, fueling a frenzy of demand. With the mine closed, supply is permanently fixed, guaranteeing their place as one of the most valuable gems in history. The Argyle mine in Western Australia opened in 1983 and, for nearly 40 years, produced 90% of the world's pink diamonds. The source was volcanic lamproite pipes, unlike typical kimberlite deposits. Today, with Argyle closed, no new stones will enter the market. To find an Argyle pink diamond now means chasing provenance, auction houses in Geneva and Hong Kong, or private sales from collectors who hold the last of these treasures. Certificates from Argyle itself have become as valuable as the stones. For much of history, pink diamonds were virtually unknown. Argyle changed that, turning Australia, an unexpected source, into the center of the diamond world. Jewelry houses like De Beers and Sotheby's built entire campaigns around the rarity of these stones. In China, pink diamonds became symbols of romance and status. In the West, they represented individuality, something rarer than royalty itself. The closure of Argyle was mourned not only by miners, but by an entire luxury industry. Argyle stones range from blush pink to deep magenta, in rare purplish reds. Cut into radiant shapes or classic rounds, they maximize light to enhance color. The most valuable pieces are small, yet highly saturated, often set into rings, pendants, or sold loose to collectors and investors. The Argyle pink brand itself is now a hallmark of rarity, every gem a piece of a vanished source. The Argyle mine is silent, its pink diamonds lost forever. If you held one, would you wear it or lock it away? Leave your thoughts in the comments. The Argyle mine is silent, its tunnels collapsed, its machines abandoned. No miner will ever lift another pink diamond from the earth. What remains are only the stones already cut, carried away into vaults and collections. Absence itself has become their value, an eternal reminder of a treasure the world can no longer create. And so ends our journey through the world's most valuable gemstones, a story of beauty, rarity, and the fragile line between abundance and loss. You've just traveled through 15 of the world's most valuable gemstones, a journey across oceans, empires, and vanished mines. From living coral to imperial jade, from warrior's garnet to Kashmir's lost blue, each stone revealed more than beauty. They showed us how power, faith, and desire have shaped not only jewelry, but human history itself. At the top, the Argyle pink diamond reminded us that rarity is not always about brilliance, but about absence. Its silence echoes louder than any sparkle, a final lesson in how fragile actual value can be. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Tops so you won't miss the next episodes of the Gemstone Kingdom. Every week we uncover stories of gems that changed history, fueled myths, or are only now being rediscovered. Your support helps us bring these hidden worlds to light, and this is only the beginning. In our next episode, we'll follow a different path. Not the most valuable stones, but the most mysterious ones. Gems surrounded by legends of immortality, healing, and curses. If you thought today's countdown was surprising, the next one may change the way you see gemstones forever.